He thought he caught a thief, a boy with shaking hands and fear in his eyes. But what he didn't know was that the boy wasn't stealing bread. He was about to steal Samir's heart and give him back something he thought he'd lost forever. If mercy has ever changed you, hit that like button and stay till the end. For 32 years, Samir Rahman opened his bakery before the sun. He kneaded dough the way some people say, prayers slow and steady, remembering a life he once shared with someone who was no longer here. Since losing his wife, the silence inside Rahman's bakery felt heavier than the bags of flour he carried every morning. The neighborhood had grown colder. Shops were closing. Customers had disappeared. Children he used to see every day now avoided the streets. But every night, one thing stayed the same. His pastries kept going missing. Always 2 loaves. Some mornings, he arrived to find footprints on the flour-dusted floor. They were small and quick. And though Samir pretended not to notice, deep down, the bakery felt less empty when those footprints appeared. Until one night, Samir decided to stay late. He heard a creak at the back door and saw a hand reaching inside. He grabbed it and pulled the boy into the light. The child froze, staring up at him with wide, pale eyes. His hoodie hung loose on his frame. Fear wrapped around him like a second skin. Samir demanded an answer. The boy flinched so hard, Samir had to stop. This wasn't defiance. It was terror. Barely audible, the boy tried to apologize. Words tangled and unfinished. He hid his hands, not from guilt, but from habit, from a life where his hands had been punished. Something inside Samir softened. "Are you hungry?" he asked. The boy didn't answer. His stomach did. Instead of calling the police, Samir placed a fresh loaf of bread on the counter. He offered the boy a choice: come back in the mornings, work with him, and be paid with food so he wouldn't have to steal anymore. The boy stared at him, confused, and asked why. Samir simply said that someone once helped him, and now it was his turn. After a long hesitation, the boy introduced himself as Leo. Samir gave his own name and offered a hand. Leo's fingers trembled as they met his. The fear in his eyes softened into something unfamiliar. Trust. Or at least the beginning of it. Without realizing it, Samir felt something stir inside him too, like a door opening that he hadn't known was closed. The next morning, Leo was waiting outside before dawn, shivering. When Samir handed him an apron, Leo's hoodie slipped, exposing bruises along his ribs. Samir froze. Leo brushed it off as clumsiness. It was the same lie Samir had once told himself after his wife died. "I'm fine. I'm okay. It doesn't hurt." So Samir didn't push. He simply invited him inside and said the bread wouldn't bake itself. As they worked, Samir noticed how closely Leo watched him, how carefully he copied each movement, how his eyes softened when patience replaced anger. Slowly, the grief that had lived in Samir's chest began to loosen. Leo wasn't just learning to bake. He was making the bakery feel like home again. A week later, the bakery door burst open and a woman stormed inside, demanding to know where her son was. Leo froze. She grabbed him, accusing Samir of using him for scraps. Before Samir could explain, Leo spoke. His voice shook, but his words were clear. He said Samir fed him, listened to him, and made him feel safe. The room fell silent. For the first time in years, Leo's mother saw her son smiling a real smile. Her anger faded into regret. She whispered that she didn't know. Samir gently invited them both to sit. There was fresh bread, and the three of them ate together, not as a baker, a thief, and an angry mother, but as people learning how to trust again. From that day on, Leo came every morning. Not because he needed food, but because he had found belonging. And Samir found something too. A reason to wake up. A reason to knead dough with hope instead of habit. A reason to believe his heart wasn't broken beyond repair. One morning, as they worked side by side, Leo whispered that Samir had saved his life. Samir told him the truth, that Leo had saved his. And both of them knew it was true. Sometimes, life uses the most unlikely people to give us back the parts of ourselves we thought were gone forever. Sometimes, the thief is actually the gift. Share this video with someone who changed you in ways you never expected. And share your gratitude story with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more stories like this. This has been a True Humanity Chronicle. Stories that remind us what it means to be human.